Hello and welcome to video number 9. My name is Maxim from Reify Academy, and today we're going to look at how to deal with async workload. The reason we do need to async workload is sometimes you have situations where your HTTP call takes more than 30 seconds, and I'll show you a simple example of this. So I use using this smallkey.io, which allows us to specify a delay for HTTP call. It just replies with hello world, so nothing interesting there without the delay. As you can see, I have it here and it just says hello world. So if we have a 31 seconds delay, we'll just return this result, and we also see how to use HTTP. So HTTP has get methods, so we can specify the URL. You can usually specify a query, so you don't need to specify this mock delay like this, but I'm just going to skip it for now. There's some technical issues with the editors, it doesn't let it do it properly, so it's so if I run this, it's going to actually get stuck for 30 seconds. What I want to show you is if I open a new tab, it says hello John now because it says hello John now because we haven't removed this part, so we want to actually return we don't want to return all this. As you see, the backspace situation, the backspace situation got fixed, so we just need to return the result. If I do this and I press refresh, for some reason it actually gives us this, which is kind of unexpected. Bad request, pure city. Okay. Can we do HTTP call on this? Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, so now it's stuck. As you can see, it says incomplete because actually it's stuck there. So if I go to here, it will get stuck, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to give us an error. It's going to tell us, hey, the application timeout. So in dark, every HTTP handler, for now at least, only allowed to run for 30 seconds. So if you want to run an HTTP call like this, maybe put it in a database and return it in a different call later. What we can do is we can create this thing called async worker, and I can call this hello. And what we do then, instead of putting this code here, is I'm gonna move this code into a separate function. So if we extract this as a function which accepts the URL, and we extract this variable. No, that's not the one. I was kind of figuring out how to copy this, because what happens if I copy, as you can see, it didn't really copy anything. And the copy is one of the, I think, biggest problems in the new editor. So if I try to put this URL here, I cannot. So I can as well, and unfortunately at the same time, maybe this will work. Nope, as you can see, it unfortunately it doesn't work. What I would want to do ideally is to just move all of this into a function, and I can show you for a second. This is how it worked in the old editor, and you can see here we get this error. And as you can see here, that I have this function. So if I go back when I didn't have this function yet, what I can do in the old editor is I can do this nice selection here. So I can actually select things, and I can say extract a function, and all of this goes away. And that's what I wanted to do. I think that's an upcoming feature that they're going to add to a new editor very soon. So we can call this make request, and I'm just going to go back to a new editor so that it doesn't get confusing. So we have this make request there, and we're going to call this function from our worker. And instead of doing this make request here, what we do is we say meet, and the meet has this dictionary, so we can pass any kind of information that we want. For example, if we want to pass this name there for some reason, which doesn't actually get used, but let's say we want to pass the name, we can pass this name, And then this name here, the name of the actual worker is, as soon as I type this name, you see the name hello is where you named it. It actually has all the linkages now. It says it's called by HTTP. Go hello, and it calls the make request. So let's kind of, for the sake of, so that we can see that it actually does something, we can record an output here, and we can put a dictionary, and maybe we can record the time, and we can put a date there or something. Okay, so let's say we make this request and we get something from it. So we get result eventually. And after we got the result, what we can do is now we can say, okay, db set of, so this is our output. And remember the trick which I did the last time, so we're going to do the same trick with this strange name. So it gives us now what the output is, and the output is just result, which is supposed to be a dictionary, I believe. And then I can see that the second parameter is the time, and I believe this will give us the date now. So this will conveniently give us, and we can just conveniently give us the current date, and we can just generate the key here because we don't really care about the key. So I'm going to create another REPL so we can see what the database actually has in it. TB19. And now we can run this HTTP call again. And as you can see now, it gives us this name John for some reason. Probably because that's actually an interesting one. Why did we give us John? Maybe because we didn't return anything, so it kind of didn't know what to return, so it grabbed the previous one. I think I'll just return pending. Yeah. Just make sure that we got this pending thing. Okay, now it gives us the pending, and this we can kind of check here in our REPL. Did we get the results yet? No, not yet. So this 30 seconds delay might take a bit of a while. You can see actually each one of this. So this is name made less than a minute ago, and this is some incomplete event which I think is still completing. For some reason this is red. I wonder why this is red. Oh, we actually got an exception there. Why we get the exception? Servers unavailable. Okay, apparently I crashed their server, which is happens. So let's reduce delay maybe to 10 seconds instead, and see if this works now. When you're relying on too many external services, they can actually blow on you. So let's see if it works for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. So it worked for 5. It supposedly should work for 10. So we can run this guy again, and for this I can take the one which didn't complete and just rerun this, and hopefully it will spin like this for like 10 seconds because we made it 10 seconds. So hopefully, yay! So we're getting output, and you can see we also get the time there, which is 9:39 in UTC, and eventually I think we actually might get another one if we run this guy. Yeah, you see it flipped. So these workers, as far as I know, they don't have an actual timer. Maybe it's like a very long one. But if you're doing lots of things, I would recommend to even, so let's say you're doing HTTP call and then you do another set of HTTP calls after that, put those sets of HTTP calls into another worker, so essentially everything becomes async, because otherwise you just have one big worker which might fail somewhere in the middle, and you're going to need to restart the whole thing. I have, in my project, I have about, I think, 7 async workers, and they call each other sometimes, so they get just called from HTTP call directly. Yeah, so async workers is a very powerful mechanism. It's not very visible now, and there's no types yet. The types are coming in the next version, I believe. I've already talked to the team about this, and they said yes, this will be typed, so you can't just pass anything here. It will actually depend on the type of the worker. We're not using this event thing for now, but we can actually use it. So let's say if we want to add a name here, we can just remove everything um, from this database first. As you remember, we don't have ability to migrate it yet, and we can add a name here, so we know which name did it call with, and then we can put the name in here, and that's all the information is actually in event, so you can actually see event, and we can just type name here. And then if I run this again, I didn't rerun the HTTP handler, I just run the worker. It will insert the information here, and we can easily see when the information gets inserted by this log turning to red. Maybe it didn't turn for some reason. Huh? It's supposed to turn red, but yes, it didn't. So presumably that eventually it will turn red. I think maybe I've made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. Expect value of string, but given an option in the column. Oh yes, because this is not, the event name is not a string, because we made it a dictionary get. So now it is just, and we need to match on it to be able to see, okay, what happens if then if this thing is there, then if it's just, then we just grab the value from it, and we put this value there. As you can see, it's John. But if it's, that looks really strange. I think I need to press enter here or something. Yeah, and if it's nothing, then we just return default. And if we run it again, as you can see, it's not bugs. It's like sometimes but it very conveniently allows us to see, as you saw with me doing the diagnostics before, it's very easy to figure out, okay, did it work or not? Okay, now it worked, and I think, at least it seems to be, name outpost, so let's do db get all. Now it's locked, okay. And if, as you can see here, we have this name here, and we have a name John right here. Yeah, so this one was a bit longer, but I think workers requires a bit more attention. Yeah, so there'll be more visibility coming in the future versions, and also the typing support, and I think many more things. It's very relatively easy to do async work, especially if you've done things like node on infrastructure you don't control. Sometimes it will fail the worker, you need to do the cron jobs and things like this, and it's way easier with dark. So in the next video we're going to look at real-time features actually, but the real-time features for now is not working as expected. So we're probably going to look at something else then. We'll see if it gets fixed before I record the next video. But yeah, there'll be one more video at least in this series, and hopefully I get to work in collaborative features so you can see how I can edit things together at the same time. Thank you for watching, and until next time.